In this episode, we're going to be talking to a colleague of mine out in Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona. He has been using this tool to control all the aspects of his life, his business, and he's seen tremendous growth from there, literally from nothing to where he is today. And I can't wait for you to be a part of this conversation as we're going to be talking to John. But before I do that, we want to ask you a favor. Give us a rating on our podcast. Subscribe to us. We'd love to hear what your thoughts are. Leave us a review. Give us a rating, like I said. And if you can support us, we'd love to hear from you. That would be very, very helpful. But without further ado, let's go and meet John Diggs. John, it's so good to see you. It's so good to have you, man. I've been tracking you down for a while. You're a hard man to catch, and it's
caught me. You caught me.
I did get you. Welcome to the show. We really appreciate you coming in here today. How are you, man?
Life is good, brother. I'm loving life, man. Happy hump day to you, bro. Thanks for having me here, man.
That's awesome. And our guests pretty excited. Our listeners are pretty excited as well to talk about you and, to hear what you've got to pour into us today. So why don't we get started? Tell us who you are and what you do.
Well, like you said, my name is John Diggs. That's Diggs, as in like, can you dig it?
Yeah.
And and I was born and raised in Los Angeles, California. I currently live here in Phoenix, Arizona. My day job is a mortgage software developer. I actually own a mortgage software development company where we actually design the infrastructure for mortgage banks. Been doing that about 12 years. I've also written 4 books and very excited about launching that career, which I'm on the cusp of doing any day now. Website is being polished up so we can get that done. But the premise of my books is to help people love life more. And I created a system called Can You Dig It to help people do just that, just to love their life more. So created videos, webinars and stuff. But the key thing that may be of interest to your audience that helped me get to this point was the tool mind mapping. I'm a big believer in mind mapping. I truly believe it's the most powerful thinking tool in the universe. I literally have used it for everything, from thinking about what business to open, how to properly launch my business, every key aspects that it takes to successfully launch your business and manage your business. I've done it all in mind maps, and I find it to be very useful to not just determine what goals that you need to achieve, but also to keep you on track so you will achieve those goals at the time you anticipate doing it for success business. So it's been going great for me, staying on track, keeping my head down, staying in my lane, brother, and determined to cause change, positive change in the world with my mission.
That's awesome, man. I mean, that's powerful right there. Mind mapping. I'm excited to hear about that tool.
Yeah.
And so how did you actually get to this point? I know you're a developer of software and you are an author. Congratulations. You got like 4 books, brother. That's awesome.
Yeah. Thank you.
How did you get to this point? Give me a little bit about that journey. Where did everything start and how you got here?
Well, that's an interesting story. I talk about it in this free webinar that I invite everybody to go check out to learn, deeper about the story. But just the short version of it is I used to own a mortgage company in the early 2000s, did very well for myself at that time. But then when the mortgage meltdown hit in 2008, literally lost everything. I mean, everything in my life. I mean, my business, my wife, my family, my kids, houses, homes. I mean, I was homeless, really trying to figure out which way was up, and hit rock bottom at one point. I mean, really, really rock bottom when my family had moved out here to Arizona. I was still in Los Angeles, had to move to my mom's. It was just really, really, really trying times for me. But then a friend had introduced me to mind mapping. Just by way of introducing me to a business opportunity. He was just doodling on this notepad. And I was like, what are you doing there? Because as he was presenting his business opportunity on this mind map, as he was just literally having a pencil writing it out, just made so much sense to me. So I started to research mind mapping. Then I came up with the decision to start mind mapping all of the motivational books that I've read over the years, you know, all of the Tony Robbins stuff, landmark education stuff, NLP stuff, all of the training stuff, that sales stuff that I did. I just spent literally like 2 months just strictly just mind mapping all of that stuff, which gave me such a clarity on all of the stuff that was being taught by those powerful people and their powerful messages, that it really inspired me and empowered me to change my life, you know, really fast. Because I went from being dead ass broke, homeless on my mom's couch, to making over $10,000 a month working as a mortgage software developer for this company. I did it all in less than 5 months. And I know I did that primarily because of the clarity mind mapping enabled me to have, not just with what I wanted to do, but also who I am, you know, who I wanted to be to achieve and rebuild my life. So mind mapping just gave me such a big clarity purpose. And I've been doing it ever since, you know, ever since that time. That was in 2010. Yeah, right around 2010. Ever since then, mind mapping has been a very integrated part of my life, you know, with making decisions, problem solving, anything that I'm trying to get my mind around. I immediately just grab mind mapping now, and it's enabled me to, again, write books, you know, do a whole bunch of crazy stuff with it. So it's very powerful.
Well, that's awesome, man. And I mean, what a story. Like, you know, within 5 months, you're able to transform yourself. Mm-hmm. And you know, obviously it's mindset. So mind mapping, which is the tool that we're going to talk about. Yep. Give us some backdrop on that. What is mind mapping, and what's this, you know, how do we utilize this? I know you said a couple of things earlier, but just paint a picture of what the mind mapping tool is.
Yeah, a mind mapping, there's tools available online and downloadable apps, but simply said, you could just grab a piece of paper and a pencil and draw a circle in the middle of whatever your focus for that mind map is, whether that's a problem you're trying to solve, a decision you're trying to make, or a business you're trying to open. Whatever that is, you just set that in the center of your mind map. Then as you think about, you know, that various aspects of that problem, decision, or business you're opening, you just draw additional circles around that central circle and draw lines to those extensions, kind of branches out to those topics. Then as you hit those core topics of whatever it is your mind map is, then it enables you to start to think about the subtopics for each one of those topics. So you actually get really granular in topics and be able to visualize it and see it. So you can really draw it, but there's apps for it. But the tool itself, what I found, the process of mind mapping itself is more conducive to how our brains work. Mm-hmm. You know, our brains work in a visual capacity. Our brain works with associations and connections. And so when you're drawing and using this tool for these associations and connections, you're going to find more solutions to problems. You know, it's going to be, decisions become clear, you know, marketing strategies become really, you see the action steps just because your brain, and just looking at it in this visual snapshot on the mind map, is so much more powerful than what we've been taught as far as linear bullet points and writing paragraphs of information. It's harder for us to retain that, or to, you know, memorize it, or really make use of that information in that structure for most people. But with mind mapping, you know, you can take all of that bullet point stuff and put it on a mind map, and you'll see it so much more clear to get to what you're trying to, the result of the map in the first place, kind of deal. Whether it's discovering yourself, who you are, your core values, to developing or determining what is the most powerful marketing strategy for a business.
That's awesome. And and you mentioned that, if it's marketing you want to do, if it's a business you want to start up, I suppose that there are a group of different folks that mind mapping can apply to. So who are some of the key users you think that could really benefit from using mind mapping?
Um, Everyone, anyone, especially entrepreneurs. Again, I think I may have mentioned to you some time before when we first started talking about this, how I used to make my executive summaries, my performance, if you will, my business plans in a mind map form, versus the standard way that most people do it as entrepreneurs. I want to start a new business. You get this software and they create a big Lord of the Rings thick like book that you probably never reference as your business is evolving. But from a mind map standpoint, if you have all of those key points that you put in an executive summary on a mind map, it's easier for you to consistently reference to make sure you're doing what you said you were going to do at this first, second, third, fourth quarter, or whatever that may be in your business, or you're following up whatever marketing thing. So it could be very beneficial for entrepreneurs just to mind map their business plan versus use the regular one, because it will give them much more detail and clarity on what they're doing and what they should do next. If that helps. That makes sense.
Yeah, no, that's pretty solid. And so it you can certainly, and the folks who are listening to the podcast are typically business owners and entrepreneurs and startups. So this is certainly something that you can take away from this podcast and start using mind map from business planning, marketing planning, to really executing your projects. You can use mind map a lot to do that. So my question is then, how is it, like, how is this different though from from some of the alternatives? Like, what if I'm not doing mind mapping, if I'm not using a tool for that? And I know you and I are familiar with Mindmeister, which
Right.
is one of our one of the tools with the Meister Labs, which is also
Yeah.
Meister Task is in that group of tools. And Meister Task, shout out to Meister Task, they're a sponsor
Yeah.
for our podcast. And Mindmeister is one of those tools, the mind mapping tools they use. But talk to me about, how is it different from some of the alternatives that are out there today?
Well, mindmeister.com, in my research and experience, is the best online mind mapping software there is. There's a bunch of like mind mapping software, again, you can download and have it as on your computer and such. But with Mindmeister being online, it just gives you so much more power to access it wherever you need to. I can access it on my phone. Just that online experience is powerful, and its functionalities is just there's just no other out there that is really competing with mindmeister.com, as far as I know, having been mind mapping for so long and communicating with so many other people that have used different software. You always get a thumbs up with mindmeister.com. They have a presentation version of it that if you actually create a mind map, you can create a mind map and make it into a presentation, which is what I've been doing in a lot of my like YouTube videos, and things that I share social media are actually mind maps from mindmeister.com using the presentation feature, which are very professional. But yeah, that's the big difference, where the other ones are software that you have to download and you're kind of forced to have to use it either on a laptop or on a workstation. Where with Mindmeister, I mean, you can essentially use it wherever you can get access to the web, which is great for me. I'm a mobile guy like I am.
Yeah, that's. This podcast is sponsored by Meister Task, the most intuitive task manager on the web. Meister Task is an easy-to-use project management tool. Makes it easy and fun and colorful to get all your projects managed in one place. As an entrepreneur, I use Meister Task to help me manage all of my projects. I can drag and drop different tasks. I can assign key people to the task. I can set deadlines and schedules and enjoy just beautiful colors while I do that. So if you are interested in trying Meister Task, go to meistertask.com/DMT tools. That's meistertask.com/DMT tools. And you can sign up for a free trial when you upgrade to the Pro plan. So get started for free today, and invite your team members and get productive together. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And I've used Mindmeister before, and they're in the cloud, and you got a mobile app and you've got a desktop version, and you can actually do that. Talk to me about some practical things that you could actually do inside Mindmeister Node, though. We're still talking about mind mapping, but Mindmeister, for those for our listeners, is the tool that you can use to execute that mind mapping process, right?
Exactly.
So let's go deep into just maybe one thing that's practical. So let's, for example, talk about, and you tell me, maybe a project or a plan that you want to execute. How would you kind of do this? Right. I remember you started earlier with, even on a piece of paper, you could kind of draw that circle. Yeah. And I know that's possible in Mindmeister too. So talk to me about that.
Yeah, what's really cool about Mindmeister and the online feature as well, to your point, is that, like I said, instead of drawing it on a map, on a napkin or something, if I'm using the Mindmeister tool, one of those topics or any of those topics, subtopics or the like, I can actually insert a link to another website for more details. If I want to circle back to it later, I can insert a YouTube video that's related to that actual topic. I can actually attach a file that's related to that topic. I can attach images, gift, anything to those topics. So now when you're looking at your mind map, not only do you have a topic, but you can have subtopics that can link to other important sites and other important information that will help you clarify that topic or give you more color around that topic, which I think is just outstanding, because, I will brainstorm with a mind map, and I'm like, all right, here's my mind map. Then I'm like, all right, I may Google something like in that topic range, and they come up with a bunch of Google stuff. So instead of me trying to remember that or bookmark it or something, I would just copy and paste that link as a topic in my mind map. And in Mindmeister, it gives you a hyperlink back to that website when you need to access it further. But it also is pretty cool because it'll give you an image of that website as well, so you kind of remember, okay, that's what that link is referencing. So when I'm going back, especially like a business person, a new business owner, you're starting your business, you have your mind map, your executive summary out with all of these links to other resources. Like I said, but most people, when they create a business plan, I started my first business plan in '98, when figuring out executive summary stuff, but I wrote a ton of them. But once we finish it, after 6 months or 8 months of creating it, probably never reference again. You know what I mean? And if you do reference it, you don't know where to reference it. What chapter did I write that in? And, how do I use it as a tangible tool? But that's what it's supposed to be for. Your executive summary is supposed to be a roadmap or a blueprint of what you should be doing to make sure your business is successful. The old way, I never referenced it. You know what I mean? And I think most people never referenced that big, again, thick novel called an executive summary that you create when you're starting a new business. But when you do it in a mind map, especially like a Mindmeister, you can just log in, open up the mind map, and you can really track, and manage yourself to see, like, are you truly on track in various quarters, first quarter, second quarter, third quarter? What do you need to do to get back on track? Or probably most importantly, what I'm thinking now is that I'm sure brother, when you create an executive summary and now you're on the playing field and actually building your business, things change, circumstances change, all of that stuff is changing. And the chances of you going back to that big, thick Word document to go modify your executive summary are slim to none. But it's so much easier to do it on a mind map to say, all right, now this person is no longer a resource, or now I just discovered a new contact that can help me build my business. You can easily place that on your mind map. And then once I would do that, just to kind of go down that hole for a second, if I said, all right, here's a new contact, I would add it to my mind map. Then from there, with that contact, I can put that contact's email, that contact's telephone number as extensions to that topic on the mind map. But then I can start going deeper. Who do I know that can get me in contact with him? What do I need to say? What is it? Let me get a history of this person. So let me paste in their website or some of the social medias. So anytime in the future I see this person on my mind map, I can expand the mind map and get everything I need to know about that person right there in one shot with the mind map, which I do a lot especially when I'm going to call somebody or doing a podcast like this. I got a mind map with you on it, brother, with your websites and everything, just so I can get familiar with it. But it could be a very powerful tool used that way as well.
Awesome. No, that's powerful, man. That's amazing. And it just seems to be so much that you can do with it. And I would encourage listeners, lean into it and check it out. Those who are listening, if they're interested in this tool, and I know folks are interested in, we want to check this out and see what it looks like. What should they need to do to use this? I mean, I know there's probably a free version, but talk to me about Mindmeister. Is it free or freemium?
Yeah. Mindmeister.com. I think you can do up to like 3 to 5 maps or something for free. And you have some limited functionality for the free version, but then there's a subscription version that's only like $4 a month or something like that. Then I think there's another tier that's like $10 a month. I do have a Dig It discount code for a 10% discount for if that's something you're interested in and take advantage of. But yeah, if you're new to mind mapping, want to figure out mind mapping, I would definitely start with mindmeister.com. There's a bunch of YouTube videos that they have for that company that can give you some general understanding on how to navigate. There's a bunch of stuff online about mind mapping, just the general concept of it to get yourself together. And, always with my site, John Diggs, all of my books, the 4 books that I wrote are all full of mind maps. And for what I heard and understand in this mind mapping world is that I'm one of the few out there that's using mind mapping as a personal development tool. Most companies, all Fortune 500 companies that use mind mapping, they're using it for project management and stuff like that, or teachers using it in schools and education stuff. But I'm one of the few that has really approached it as a personal development tool to help people live their life more, kind of deal. So yeah, there's a lot of information out there, and I'm always available to help people integrate mind mapping into their life, because again, it changed my life and I'm trying to help others change theirs as well.
Awesome. And you mentioned that you have a code that folks can use if they're interested in going deeper with Mindmeister. Tell us that code, because we want to put that in the show notes, and folks, okay, you can look at the show notes and you can get this code that John is going to be sharing, and you can use that to get into Mindmeister and get get advanced into more maps, more features that you can use beyond the free version.
Yeah, and that's Dig It. That's DIGGIT. Just DIGGIT.
Okay, Dig It. Cool.
Just dig it. But once you get to that code point, they'll give you a 10% discount, for whatever subscription that works best for you.
I like it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And man. So, John, I know staying in business for years is not easy. And, how have you done it? And what would you say has been the best thing that happened since?
Not to beat the drum too much or beat a dead horse that's dying, but again, it's mind mapping. It helps, bro. I can't say enough about it. I constantly am on it. It's constantly keeping me focused on the target. It's constantly keeping me focused on what I'm truly trying to achieve. And I can't think of, or in my experience as a businessman, since 95, I guess, well, I got my real estate license in 1990, when I was actually still playing professional football. I was in real estate. So I started getting my business chops, way back then. And I have not found a better tool to keep me focused and to keep me on track better than mind mapping in all those years. You know, I constantly use it. I'm constantly just, you know, when I'm messing around, sitting here at my desk like I am now, I may be watching a football game or something, and I may just open up a mind map and just let my mind, you know, wander, or I may revisit an old mind map or revisit my executive summary for 2021, and just to kind of just sit there and just see if anything resonates or comes to me. And just in that process, man, it keeps me on track. Because as you know, brother, with running a business, it's not just hard to stay focused on the goal, but it's hard to, you know, stay on track when you have so many variances and variables. And, you know, being a football player, you know, I like to say, you know, you may have to call a bunch of audibles. You know, you got to read plays as they're happening, and if you don't really have a tool that helps you know your objective, you know, it's hard to make sure that you're making those right decisions. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I always looking at my tool. So when things come up, you know, I'm faster with making my decisions than, you know, because I'm clear on what I want, you know, versus, you know, those times when you're like, let me get back to you and think about it, but don't necessarily have a good tangible tool or reference to help you make an informed decision.
Yeah, and and that's really powerful, man. So John, is there anything that I didn't ask you that you'd like to share with us?
No, man. I mean, again, I just really stress that even for you entrepreneurs out there, let me just say that what I found is that once I got really clear using mind map on who I am and my true core values, my true core beliefs, what's truly most important with my life, business took off. And it gets emotional for me because, you know, it was a tough story.
Yeah.
I kind of skimmed over it, but I was really at a bad place. And I know it was mind mapping helping me to resolve issues in my past that I was still fudging with. I couldn't get complete with drama in my past. Mind mapping helped me sort that out.
Yeah.
What I wanted to do with my future, mind mapping helped me get clear on what I wanted. And how I use it in my present, mind mapping helps me stay on track. And I suggest to everybody, you know, explore using it first to get clear on truly who you are. Then it makes running your business and operating your business so much easier.
Yeah. Yeah. That's powerful, man. And thanks for sharing that, brother. I appreciate it. I know you've written some books, man, and I really wanted to kind of just get a word on those books. Tell us about the books and tell us where we can find those books.
Yeah, well, I wrote 4 of them. The general premise is just to help people love their lives more, regardless of their current circumstances. My main book is called Love Life, Can You Dig It? And that's primarily because I built a system called Can You Dig It to help people achieve the goal of loving life. Inside of that Can You Dig It system, which is an acronym, there's 7 powers. You know, the first word can stands for the power of belief, because you first must believe you can love life before you will. The second word, you, in Can You Dig It, stands for the power of identity, because the most important beliefs we have are the beliefs that we have about ourselves. Then the D in Can You Dig It stands for the power of decision, because once we know who we really are, we know we have the power to decide what we want to be, do, and have to love life. The I in Can You Dig It stands for the power of imagination, because once we make a decision on what we want to be, do, or have, now we have to imagine ourselves successfully being that, doing that, and having that. Then the first G stands for the power of going, because now you got to take action towards your dream with faith. And the last G stands for the power of guidance, which is where I use mind mapping a lot, because the power of guidance, because now that you're taking massive action, you have to be able to guide your behavior, your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions you're producing until you have it in Can You Dig It, which is the last power, the power of happiness. So I talk about this system and I walk people through it in mind mapping form. I talk about, I created this whole Can You Dig It system because of mind maps. It helped me clarify it to come up with this system. And the other books are all complementary to that. I have an I Am book that really digs into the I Am mind map that I created to determine my core values. I have a book called Blessed and Grateful that's talking about how to be blessed for your past, feel grateful for your future in the moment of now to truly love life. Then the last one is called Dig This Too, which is just 4 more powers that I highlight on the Can You Dig It system. But really excited. It's a childhood dream coming true for me, brother, to get up here and try to help people positively impact the world, man. So I really appreciate the opportunity that you've given me to come here and hopefully help your audience and love their lives more, man. That's the goal.
Absolutely. And where do we find those books, John? Are they on Amazon, or what's the URL?
JohnDiggs.com.
JohnDiggs.com.
There's some discounted books there, but they're all on Amazon as well. Again, it's just John Diggs, JohnDiggs.com. And can you dig it? Let's love life together. I'm here to help you.
Cool. Let's keep digging for it. And so you go to johndiggs.com and you can get, and we'll put that in the show notes as well. And we'll put the links to the books in there. This is pretty awesome. I usually like to ask, my guests, what books they're reading, but here you are, you actually wrote 4 of them. So I'm sure you're probably reading them all the time, but tell us about some of the other books that you read or that has impacted you. I would love to know.
It's funny when you ask that, because I'm actually reading 2 good ones right now. This one is called the Leadership Phrase book.
Leadership Phrase. Got it.
Leadership Phrase. And it's really powerful in that it gives you different variations on how to communicate certain things. I'm big in communication. I understand the power of communication, and that book is very good with helping. The other book that I'm reading is called Sleight of Mouth by Robert Dilts. Sleight of Mouth by Robert Dilts. They just sit here on my desk. When I make the time to read them, I'm all over it. But Sleight of Mouth is a neurolinguistic programming module or chapter or subject, if you will, and kind of like sleight of hand, where kind of like the magic tricks. Right. Sleight of Mouth is designed to help you communicate to people in a way to have them reconnect to or reassess beliefs that may be limiting them. So if a person say they have a challenging belief, Sleight of Mouth will give you some communication skills to help that person dislodge, if you will, for lack of a better word, that limiting belief that's holding them back from living powerfully. So Sleight of Mouth is a great, great book, man. I highly recommend it for personal use as well as for communicating with those, your loved ones. It could be there's some stuff in here that can help you help them love life more.
and that's awesome. And let's repeat those books again. Sleight of Mouth by
Robert Dilts. Yeah, Robert Dilts, Sleight of Mouth.
Robert Dilts. Okay, cool. And the other one?
We got Leadership Phrase book by Patrick Elaine.
Leadership Phrase book. Yeah, that's a pretty nice book. I like that. I should get my hand on that one.
You want to check this. He did an amazing job of just talking about different situations, either at work, at home, or around, and how the different responses you can have in certain circumstances. So it's really
nice. And what about podcasts? I mean, outside of the Get More podcast, which we got to make a big shout out to our own stuff, but what kind of a podcast are you listening to
outside of yours, man? The only one that I really have been making the time to listen to be honest, is the ESPN one. ESPN. my Stephen A. Smith. Right. I like his little, just to catch up on my sports, but I need to, I know, and in full transparency, get more into listening to podcasts. Totally open to, for references or recommendations to you and your audience. But I know I need to make the time to start doing it. But as you kind of got a sense of, I've been kind of busy. So
Yeah,
I've been
I know, for sure. And so we're always looking for creators, John, and master users of tools that has helped them to grow, that they can actually suggest and kind of pay forward for other folks who are just coming up, and people who might be struggling that can use to grow. Do you have any recommendations? I mean, who should we be reaching out to be a guest on here to really talk about something as powerful like a mind mapping that can really help businesses grow?
I know Liam Hughes at biggerplate.com. Are you familiar with Liam
No,
Hughes?
sounds cool. Yeah.
Yeah, biggerplate.com is probably the biggest mind mapping URL in the world. And he has a lot of good stuff there that could be useful for your team. I'm a big ClickFunnels guy. I don't know if your audience is familiar with Russell Brunson and ClickFunnels. With my books, I basically kind of paused releasing them. They're about a year old now, but I haven't really did official launch yet because I'm putting my ClickFunnels in play to make sure I could create a better experience for people like, your audience when they come to johndiggs.com. I want it to be as professional as possible, and I can't think of a better tool or found a better tool for a website experience than ClickFunnels. So
nice.
Those are just the things that just came to the top.
Yeah, perfect. I mean, we'll reach out to them. I'm not too far away from the ClickFunnels office out here.
Nice.
And so I haven't seen Russell yet, but I'm sure if I hang around long enough, I might see him. But yeah, I would certainly love to get him or someone on the show to chat about ClickFunnels for sure. And definitely the other gentleman that you mentioned. So we'll definitely reach out to those guys. So John, this is great. This has been amazing. Thank you for sharing, thank you for sharing your knowledge and for, putting this on. And your time as well, really valuable. We don't want this to be the last though, because we want to check in with you a couple of weeks or months from now to see how you're doing out there. And because you're in LA, right?
Well, I'm actually in Phoenix now. Yeah,
you're in Phoenix now, right?
Yeah, so with that being said, I'll be more than willing sometime in the future to share everybody what I've done with ClickFunnels, and what I'm doing with ClickFunnels. So if you want to do that, I'm open for that as well. But I'm here for you, man. Anything I can do to help, I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for having me here, and anything I can do to help you and your audience, man, just count me in.
Absolutely. Good looking out, John, and we'll definitely be in touch. Keep digging. That was an amazing conversation from John, sharing mind mapping. Like, folks, if you haven't started using mind mapping or Mindmeister to really help you to navigate your way through these complex and unpredictable journey of managing business, doing marketing, managing life itself, I really hope that we were able to add some value to you today. Before I go though, I'd love for you to remember to subscribe to our podcast, give us a rating, leave us a review. Those things are always helpful for us as we bring you folks from different parts of the country, different parts of the world. But until next time though, don't forget to choose a tool to rule your growth. We'll talk soon.